within a lot of these orders, they might feel that they are, the only way to gain all this is just to go out there and grab it, basically. And I have no idea. Have you kind of got the sense that many of these guys feel that they are, world planners or even world rulers, that they can dominate as they will, or is it more a gentle approach? What's your idea?
Yeah, they definitely look at themselves as being the movers and the shakers in whatever spheres of influence they move within. And again, it's okay if that's in fact what's going on, but when you start looking at this a little closely and you start to see this these connections with these people over monetary issues or over legislative issues, or I'm going to sidle up to you because you can do something for me, and screw you if you can't. I don't want nothing to do with you at that point. Is part and parcel of the way these people think.
Yeah.
And it does guide their behavior. And let me give you an example of something that I found absolutely sickening. My cousin starts walking around at one point and she says, I want to have a baby, but I don't have time to be pregnant. It would interfere with my dinner party schedule. She actually said this in front of family members.
Yeah.
So what they did is the next thing I knew, they're adopting, quote unquote, adopting a baby. However, when a typical person in our country adopts a child nowadays, it could take anywhere from 6 months to a year, or in some cases even longer, depending on, case-by-case situation, perhaps how far along the mother is, and so forth. But for somebody to come out and say, I don't have time to be pregnant, and then like a month later has a baby in her arms, what's up with that? I was thinking at the time.
Oh, yeah, indeed.
And so then you start to, wonder about if there was some illicit deal going on behind the scenes, which moved up that time schedule in a much shorter fashion.
Absolutely. Yeah, that might be. I mean, again, who knows if you got the right handshake, or you got the right greeting or whatever, that could potentially take you, speed up all kinds of business, and we're very used to, as you say, the kind of bureaucracy that goes on our level. But I guess if you climb the ladder of that hierarchy, you might be able to speed things up tremendously, and things might work, very easy for you. Do you think that is the case?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
These people, they have the world at their beck and call, and the things that I have just witnessed in personal interaction with this type of person has been such that I, it just blows my mind to think that, I could be a certain individual with a certain family, for example, and have access to things that I wouldn't have otherwise if that family was not part of the picture.
Yeah.
And it just seems that this type of thinking gets into every single area of their life. And it even got to the point where after, let's go before the marriage, they were a lot more available to visit with. As I explained, my uncle was my favorite uncle. I enjoyed seeing him whenever I could, and it wasn't too often that I did, but I enjoyed the times we spent together. And then, like, after the marriage happened, and she walked into this $1 million mansion, which was given as a wedding gift, by the groom's father, free and clear, no mortgage. Here's a $1 million house.
Yeah.
Happy marriage. And you know, it was one mind blower after another, Henrik.
Yeah, yeah.
Really.
You mentioned, you know, the plan for the world, as it were. You know, we spent a lot of time on this program, you know, speculating on where things are heading and what might be, you know, coming up in the future and so forth. And you and I have talked before, as you say, a little bit about the president candidates upcoming. You have some inside information about that and so forth. But beyond that and beyond what, you know, we all have been reading and speculating about, do you have any kind of inside hints or information on you know, what the plan actually is for the world, you know?
Well, you know, a lot of this on my part is going to be conjecture, because anything short of, you know, having like a report sitting on my desk which says, you know, on X date this is going to happen. It does seem to be going into a specific direction, and maybe I could just address this by saying a few things I'm concerned about.
Sure.
That they will happen in the near future. The first thing I'm concerned about in America here is the illegal immigration problem, which is being used to balkanize our country. And balkanization is a term which describes a divide and conquer scenario, which will chop the country into smaller pieces, factions that will be going against one another.
Yeah.
This is used to foment civil wars, and it has been done for hundreds and hundreds and probably thousands of years.
Yeah.
So I'm very worried about that.
Yeah.
Their solution to that problem, the ready-made solution to that problem, is the North American Union. And that is the second thing I'm most concerned about, because nobody wants this except these elitists. It benefits them in terms of maximizing their control, which is what they crave the most, perhaps, even more so than money. In fact, I have even spoken to people who have described certain members of the government we currently have getting sexually excited over power issues. And Dick Cheney comes to mind in that department.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's if it's a, you know, psychological issue, some kind of, you know, pathology. It's a mentality, a framework of the mind. And I mean, in a way, I'm not surprised then that people that are inclined towards this, that enjoy, as you say, power and are, you know, get a kick from it. They're the, you know, positive sensation from their part from power. They absolutely are going to be, you know, drawn into that or towards that situation that will give them more power. And I guess it's more of a problem if we look at the structure of our world than anything else, because in a way it's impossible, with how things are today at least, it's impossible to, you know, withhold these people from trying to climb the the hierarchy or the ladder or attaining more and more power, and since money now is such a vehicle for attaining power, because it is power basically, that is a way that this plays out. So I mean, are you surprised that in a way that this is happening in our world now, or is this just a consequence of the system that we have in place?
Well, actually, in terms of coincidence, again, I don't believe it is a coincidence that this is going on at this particular moment in time. And the reason being is that we are on the cusp of another one of these precession of the equinoxes cycles, which are 26,000-year astrological cycles. And that's what 2012 is all about, with the Mayan calendar and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And so this also relates to spiritual ascension, and I'm talking ascension of the masses here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what they want to do is they want to shut that off in any way, shape, or form that they can do so.
Mm.
And so all of this drug war stuff is all designed to prevent us from smoking marijuana, for example, which has been known to open up a person's brain.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it's the one substance that all MK Ultra victims are forbidden to do.
Hmm.
You can do as much coke or heroin or anything else, but if you smoke pot, they will come down hard on you
for really?
doing so.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
And so, on one level here, we have a true war against consciousness,
Yeah.
which is going on at the moment. And some of these people who are still asleep and who still struggle with these issues of, being overwhelmed by some of this material, which I can perfectly understand, because some of it is a bit over the top. If unless you have the capacity to deal with that, it can get overwhelming very quickly.
Of course, yes.
So in terms of that, this whole thing is happening for a reason at this moment. And I'll tell you something, I am happy and proud and honored to be playing a part in this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Because it is my duty as a sovereign soul to do so.
That's beautifully put. I totally agree. That's again, that's kind of the twist I always want to take, that you just have brought up here towards especially towards the end, to kind of round things off, because it's a good note. I think again, a lot of people who might feel overwhelmed with a lot of information, all of this has to do with the fact that we have to recognize a problem first and become aware of it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you as a person have to feel personally responsible for it, and consequently being very depressed by it or drawn down by it. But we have to be aware of it and have to kind of, I think the best tool against all of this is just that. It is awareness, because if more and more people were aware what actually were going on around them, more people would have their eyes open, and basically the entire world and its population would work as a kind of intelligence unit that actually can spot out and trying to root out the corruption, all the corruption that goes on in our world, and all the murders that go unrecognized and so forth, and all the conspiracy out there needs to be rooted out. And as you say, Kent, this is about being a sovereign soul in all of this, and being part of this time that we are actually in now.